Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
We're hoping to learn more about a fire near downtown Sioux Falls. Our KELOLAND news crew was on scene and able to capture this video.
We have reached out for more information and are waiting to hear back. Stay with KELOLAND News on air and online for updates as they become available. 2 people are facing drug charges after 2 separate incidents in Roberts County Monday night. The first happened just after 7 o'clock in Sisseton.
During an investigation, a deputy found meth, marijuana, and liquid THC inside a car. The driver, Red Dawn Renville, was arrested for DUI and multiple drug charges.
Then, just under 2 hours later, a Roberts County deputy stopped a vehicle near Sisseton for an equipment violation. The vehicle had to be towed and the driver began to walk away. During a search, meth was found in the vehicle.
The driver, Natasha Thompson, had not gotten far. More meth was found on Thompson, who faces multiple drug charges and was wanted on multiple warrants from South Dakota and Minnesota.
We are learning more about what led up to a dramatic crash involving several cars on the northeast side of Rapid City. Authorities say 21-year-old Caitlin Two-Strike overdosed on fentanyl while driving and lost consciousness. The
car sped off the road and through a field before striking several cars on Elgin Street. Police say they had to use Narcan to resuscitate her. She faces several charges, including DUI and reckless driving. Police say a passenger also faces drug charges.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Good morning, Scott.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Temperatures today will eventually warm back to the 70s for highs. We are starting with numbers mainly in the 40s and 50s with a couple of these isolated showers around. But with sunshine this afternoon, we'll hit 72 in Sioux Falls, 75 Aberdeen, 74 in Pierre, and 72 in Rapid City. More details on the KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Capitol News Bureau reporter Bob Mercer looked into the national donors for Governor Kristi Noem's re-election campaign.
Through June 30th of this year, the Noem Victory Fund had more than $2.5 million, mostly from individual contributions from people living in other states. You can see a full breakdown of the governor's Federal Election Commission reports, as well as her Democratic challenger Jamie Smith, on KELOLAND.com. A kidney donor and recipient are celebrating a life-saving procedure 3 months after the surgery.
But getting to this point didn't come without adversity. KELOLAND's Carter Schmidt previews tonight's Eye on KELOLAND.
Brandy Lawaji was 18 years old when she found out she had a type of chronic kidney disease. More than 20 years later, she needed a transplant, but her body rejected the kidney from her brother Bo, putting Lawaji back on the waiting list. This past spring, a person she met through her husband's softball team stepped forward to be a donor and was a match. The transplant happened July 5th, and things have been going well since then.
And I'm just so thankful and grateful that I had so many people watching out for me in my corner and, praying if they couldn't be a donor, praying that there's one that comes forward. So just like the worst part of my life is behind me, and a lot of that has to do with Bo and Jason stepping up to the plate, not realizing it would be them that would give me my life back, but that's what happened.
I think that's just kind of how we both deal with situations is, to keep it light and to keep it kind of, something we can kind of laugh at, but and then maybe look back once in a while or sit in situations like this and go, wow, it's pretty cool.
Coming up tonight in Eye on KELOLAND, hear more about their story and the importance of organ transplants.
While Hurricane Ian happened thousands of miles away, the local Red Cross in Sioux Falls is still able to help.
The organization has been working hard to collect donations as well as send volunteers down to the hardest hit areas to help.
Right now we're managing shelters is our biggest issue right now. We've got 16 shelters that are operated by the Red Cross throughout those 3 states.
You can find ways to donate as well as volunteer in this story right here on KELOLAND.com. Next week, Sioux Falls Fire Rescue will host a Sound the Alarm smoke detector event. The goal is to make sure residents have up-to-date smoke and carbon monoxide alarms.
Families can call the 211 Helpline Center to request alarms and installation, which is all free. The installations will happen October 11th or 13th. Authorities are reminding people to replace alarms that have been in use for more than 10 years.
And KELOLAND Media Group is hosting a blood drive this month. The Donathon will be on October 13th outside our studio in downtown Sioux Falls.
The blood drive will run from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can sign up through the Community Blood Bank's website.
And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, weather today. Well, these scattered showers that are still out there this morning, part of the morning forecast, I would say before 11. By that point, a lot of this is now pushing over into portions of southern and southeastern Minnesota. So for the afternoon, northwest winds will take over. We'll be in the 70s today. Tonight, cold front arrives, and you'll know it. The northeast wind will be very obvious through daybreak tomorrow morning. The frontal boundary will likely push to the Nebraska-South Dakota border. We're looking at really not a lot of moisture initially with that. However, there could be some brew-ups on radar here west of Pierre. Look at those hourly temperatures. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, mid and upper 40s underneath that rain deck. And then even Sioux Falls, I think our high will technically be after midnight. And we're talking low to mid 50s there during the afternoon. Of course, that's going to set the stage for some frost and freeze weather possible. We are going with some lows here into the 20s in northeast South Dakota on Friday morning. A lot of things yet to hammer out on the exact specifics here, but I would plan at least for some of that to be around. And then if you happen to miss out on some of that on Friday morning, well, Saturday morning too, especially east of the James Valley, looks quite chilly. Sioux Falls probably colder on Saturday morning, the way things are still looking as of today. And then we start our rebound as we get into the weekend. All right, highs today, 72 Sioux Falls, 75 Mitchell. Pleasant afternoon, and then the drop in temperature the next 2 days, followed by a steady climb next week. It looks like by day 7, we're back to 73. And the numbers for Aberdeen also back to the 60s and even 70s eventually here. So this cool down is not going to be long lasting. It's really a couple of mornings of that 20-degree upper 20s there, and then we're back off to warmer weather. Here in central South Dakota, mid and upper 60s for the weekend after the cool down. And I would say right now for Rapid City, it looks dry other than what we get tomorrow with those scattered showers and highs returning to the 70s by Monday and Tuesday. Check out the latest details with our Storm Center update right now at KENDALLAND.com.